Good morning, everyone. We have the 6-1 rolling, the 300, the SRT8, the 07. So we've got the 300 rolling. We're just doing some driving into work this morning, and just wanted to make a video today. We're going to be driving the car, I wouldn't say quite a bit, but enough, to the course, then back to another golf course, and then back home later tonight. But figured I'd get some good exhaust clips again, and just what it is like driving the car for daily driving use. And I do have to say I'm fairly impressed with the vehicle here. This has definitely been one of the most comfortable dailies I've driven, thanks in part to the seats, actually. These seats are the best seats I've ever sat in, and quite frankly, they remind me of my 2017 Ram 1500 Night Edition that I had, that was completely loaded with every option that was available, actually, for that model year. But that's what they remind me of. The bolstering and the comfort of the seats remind me of my old truck. Otherwise, you can, I shouldn't say I don't daily this car. I keep the miles down on it. But if you were to daily the car here, you definitely could. It's comfortable. It's easy to get in and out of. The one thing you do have to watch out for is that the the front lip spoiler is, or the bumper is a lot lower than everything else that you usually drive. This is definitely the lowest car that I've had, and it is stock. So you got to watch out for the front here, as it sits lower than any other vehicle that you've driven, most likely. Other than that, though, it's got a lot of the creature comforts. I could never daily this car and put miles on it, because I have a personal connection to the car. This has been one of my, American classics in my mind forever, since I was a kid, and I've always wanted to own one, and now I do. So I just couldn't see putting the miles on that other people do. But if you were to buy this, and let's just say you throw on 10,000 miles a year on it, or 7,000 miles a year, they're going to be 8,000 miles of pure comfort, from the seats to the suspension. The suspension is a tad bit stiffer than normal, but nothing out of line. I mean, it is basically a cross between that Genesis 5.0 R spec that I had, and it's actually very, very similar to that. And it's not as stiff as the E550 that I had in Airmatic Sport mode. So it's a good cross between those two. And with the seats here, it just makes up for any sort of imperfection in the road. It's actually pretty quiet too, but I'm very, very impressed with it. Very, very impressed with its daily use and the practicality of the vehicle. And quite frankly, that's why I love it. It's a badass looking car. You look like a complete fucking mobster in the goddamn thing, and which is cool. And it's a sleeper. And you get the practicality if you have a family or whatever. I would certainly not put my family in this vehicle. I don't have a family, but if I did, I wouldn't put my family in this vehicle, because I don't want them to ruin the interior of it. But if you did have a family, you could use this as a family hauler, and then have your Challenger or Crossfire SRT on the side for yourself. But again, I'm not doing that. This is my weekend car. I've got my truck, my new truck, and I'm not, driving this all over the place. It's basically a 450 horsepower, muscle sports car. You can't be driving this thing in the rain or anything like that. It kind of looks like rain over there, possibly. But anyway, getting back to the car. One thing you're going to notice here, but I've been driving this thing very, very mild. Basically, I haven't been able to take this out during the daytime too much, so I've been driving it, later at night coming from work or early in the morning right now. But I have been getting 18.1 miles to the gallon. Hey, that's better than my truck. That's better than my 5.7 in my truck. I'm getting about anywhere from 14 to 16 in that. So gas mileage isn't terrible. Oh man, you can hear when you get it in the rev range between, and sometimes this happens between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs, usually 3,000 plus, you hear the intake and it sounds sick. I mean, it is freaking awesome. That also happens in the Durango RT Tow and Go that we have as well. You can hear the intake, and it gives that kind of higher pitched, muscle scream, basically. I love that a lot. You don't get that with a lot of cars nowadays, and I appreciate that a ton. So, but yeah, going back to fuel economy, it's not terrible. If you're stepping on it all the time, yeah, you're going to go down. You're probably going to get 13, 14, but it's no worse than a truck. It's no worse than buying a Ram with a Hemi and having that with your truck. So what's the difference there, I guess, is my thing. The only negative downside about this car is that you have to put premium in it, where the 5.7 you don't have to put premium in it, so you are paying a little bit more. So this 18 miles of the gallon I'm getting right now is more equivalent to the 13 or 14 that I'm getting in my truck, just because the higher price I have to pay at the pump. But other than that, no complaints. I mean, everybody who buys a V8 knows what they're getting themselves into. You just you're not going to get, and this is what's so stupid about people. You're buying a V8. Why are you bitching about the gas mileage? Like, it's going to be bad. That's like with the truck. When I got it stock, I remember I could get, somewhere around 20 miles per gallon, depending on what driving I was doing, even maybe 21 on the highway. But when you level out your truck, you put bigger tires on it, that's going to go down. That's the territory that comes with, these vehicles with big displacement V8s. Why bitch about it if you know what you're getting yourself into? That's kind of my thinking about it. So if you're worried about the gas mileage, this car isn't for you. Go out and buy a V6 Charger. It's not for you. But if you're not worried about it too much and you budget for it, then this is the car for you. Gas mileage isn't terrible by any means, and if you're cruising on a 55 or a 65, you're going to get good gas mileage. You're going to get right around 20 miles per gallon for a big displacement V8. That's not terrible. If you're used to the gas, then nothing wrong with that. But they could have made the fuel tank a little bit bigger. I haven't filled up with this only 2 times since I bought it 2 months ago, so I don't drive it again very much. Most of the mileage, I think I've got 600 miles on since I bought it. Most of that mileage was driving back from where I bought it. So I haven't driven this that much, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not complaining by any means. But yeah, just, keep that in the back of your mind if you're looking to buy it. But everything else is very, sensible about the car. It's freaking huge. I mean, I've had 3 executive sedans here right around that 196-inch total length. And the Genesis, the Mercedes, and this. And to tell you the truth, the Mercedes was the heaviest because of all the tech features and everything in it, how it was built, but it felt the lightest. It definitely felt the lightest when you were sitting in it. Lengthwise, it definitely felt, the shortest as well, and it handled the best. But, excuse me. The Genesis was a close second. What do we got there? Some sort of animal. Deer. Oh, those damn deer. I couldn't honk my horn. I wanted to, though. The Genesis was a close second, and this is definitely a third. You can feel when you're sitting in this vehicle, how big it is. I'm sure they've done a better job with, well, they have done a better job with newer models as I've driven, you know, newer 300s, 2015 plus. But you could definitely feel how big this is, for sure, just by sitting in it, you know. And that's kind of the mantra of the car. It's big, fast, and it's fucking huge. And I like that. Oh, yeah. Gotta watch out here. Gotta keep my car clean. Yeah, so it's definitely, you know, you could definitely feel the weight of it, but it's the lightest of the 3 executive class cars that I've owned, being I think a hair over 4,100 pounds. The Genesis was about 50 pounds more than this, and it looks like we got some rain, possibly. And the Mercedes was the heaviest at around 4,300 pounds, but again, that felt the lightest just because it was the newest car. Well, it wasn't newer than Genesis, but it was definitely the most engineered car. But a lot of these parts come from the E55 AMG from Mercedes as well. But again, this is a lot older. So comfort of the ride, though, handling as what is expected. You know, like I said, it definitely feels like a big car, but that's okay. I mean, it's still fairly nimble on its feet. Otherwise, you know, it handles as it should, and it gives you a comfortable ride, and you have a little bit of sportiness to it. You know, the turn-in is okay. You could definitely feel the body roll. Definitely not the stiffest ride by any means. But it is a ton of fun to drive, and that kind of comes with the, you know, comes with the territory here. So, beautiful moon out this morning as well. The sun's going to be coming up here. It's 4:30, another 25 minutes here. So, morning will be done fairly soon. Other than that, though, I'm going to try to get some clips of driving in the daylight today here and keep moving her forward. The beast roars to life. It's nice to drive this car during the day to kind of appreciate how everybody looks at it, especially with how my car is designed with the front grille and the SRT on the grille. And I really like that a lot. I've got the sunroof open here, or tilted, I should say. I have a tuner on this car too, but I just have it to a 93 or 91 octane tune. I don't really do much with that, so I'm not too worried. But anyway, you know, going back to the discussion we had earlier, it's just a great car, and it's just so mean. Such a mean vehicle, and the exhaust sounds good. I mean, what? You have your options here. If you're a guy like me, you know, I need my truck for work. If I didn't, I can't afford a TRX yet. Someday I will buy a TRX. That's on the list, probably after this truck. But at the time where I'm at right now financially, I bought that truck 2 years ago, my red one, and I've had a second car basically since when I had to travel for work. And I had a Ford Fusion Sport, then I had the Genesis, then I had the Benz, now I have this, as you all know. But what makes this so great, and what makes all 3 of these LX cars so great, the 300, the Charger, the Magnum, the Challenger too, all 4 of them from this era, you know, you get your choice here. And if you're not looking to daily this car, you know, if you're looking to daily this car and you want to spend between 20 and 25 grand, this isn't the car for you. You know, this is somebody like me who can afford to either buy this with cash or basically have it as their weekend, you know, driver, what I do, or put low miles on it. This is the car for you. And what's great about these cars is that you have your choice between a classy, you know, mobster looking 300, a sporty sedan like the Charger, a coupe, you know, a true muscle car coupe, or a sport wagon basically with the Magnum. And you can't go wrong with that in any form. And that's what makes these cars so cool and you know, a great option for somebody, you know, like myself, who wants a second car. It's definitely not a need, it's a want. Who has a garage, who can store this in, but, you know, just wants that classic American V8 with good handling and with road presence too. And that's exactly what all these cars bring to the table, is a road presence. And say what you want about the interior, yeah, it's not great. We all know that. It's mid-2000s Chrysler. But, you know, as an entry-level sports car for somebody, you know, younger or older or with nostalgia, this is the way to go. And eventually I want to work my way up into the 2023 Chrysler 300C 392. So it's going to be tough for me when I want to, you know, either buy a TRX or that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. That's a long ways, you know, that's 3 years down the road basically. But anyway, this is definitely a good entry-level starter sports sedan. And that's what I like about it. And you still look like a badass motherfucker when you are driving, basically. So whatever car you get from the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, you know, mid-2000s era. And that's what makes this a great daily driver. I mean, it's just so cool to be in. That's what's awesome, why I didn't buy another foreign car. I wanted to stick with Cadillac or Mopar. And, you know, I have owned a lot of Mopar vehicles. I own stock in Stellantis. That's kind of where my allegiance lies. But, I mean, I wouldn't complain with a Cadillac B product as well. I mean, just to get yourself into an American, you know, muscle car, wow. It's just a feeling that you don't often get with any other vehicle, and that's what makes this car so cool. From the time you put the key in the ignition and start it up, it just gives you a sense of meaning, it gives you a sense of purpose, it gives you a sense of fulfillment that you don't get with any other car. And that's what you look for in a vehicle. And whether it's a Fiat 124 or a Miata, all the way up to an S-Class coupe, it doesn't matter. Listen to that. Oh, it just sounds so good. There's so much kick to it, so much torque, so linear. That's amazing. It just gets you to laugh. But for me, this is what gets my adrenaline pumping. This is what gets me going. And this is why I love this car. You know, back in the day, I don't know if I would have bought it because of the interior quality. But right now, who gives a shit about that? I mean, if this is your second car, why do you care? You know, you just keep it looking nice like this one. This one looks basically brand new, mint on the interior, besides the SRT shifter. Who cares? Who freaking cares? You're buying this car because of the nostalgic, the feeling that you get when you get into the vehicle. This is so much more reliable and better than buying a Mercedes-Benz, you know, E55 of the era. So that's kind of what you buy it for. What a great car. Again, I literally can't say enough about it. Sometimes I'm just speechless. It's like, I've wanted this car since it came out in 05, 06. And I was, 8 years old, 7 years, somewhere around 7 to 8 years old at the time. I think 8 years old. And this has always been on my list of cars to own. I finally owned it. It's been just a dream, basically, driving it the 600 miles that I've driven it. So if you take care of your vehicles like I do, you know, do your maintenance on them, especially these Mopars, they're a blast to own. You're always getting people looking at you. This is an under-the-radar car, so you won't have to worry about the cops as much if you're not speeding. It's just a fantastic beast of a Hemi. And blacked out with tinted windows, it looks pretty sweet, I do have to say. You guys won't be disappointed. You truly won't be disappointed. It's a great, great vehicle. Jesus Murphy. it's just so, it's not as smooth as the ZF. It's not as smooth as the ZF in the Durango, the HP70, but wow. Woo! Just pulls. It is so loud and ferocious. Oh my goodness. And it pulls hard, boy. This is a badass vehicle. This is a badass vehicle.